Welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
We're going to be talking about New Frontier from DC Comics on the 300th episode of Back Issues. Woo! We made it! Like, I don't know, there was no obstacle in our way, it's just that we did it.
Other than time.
We have arrived at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and really this isn't the 300th episode. Like, there have been random episodes in between. Like, we have a comment special. Is that an episode? Our Phase 3 of Marvel, is that an episode?
I had an issue with the fact that you had a two-parter Spawn episode.
We have
that
a
was
two-parter
just
Spawn
one episode.
Superior Spider-Man is 2 parts. Like, yeah. So, no. It's all a fraud.
Do you have an official episode designation, like episode 001, episode 002?
I do not. We did in the beginning, and then we dropped it because it didn't make any sense.
That's right. Yeah.
We need like an obsessive fan to like chronicle them all and figure it out, because like the fans do it better than the publisher ever could.
We've said this is episode 300, so if you're going to do that, you have to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, like do episodes of my parents count? Like, are those annuals? Like, what do you call those?
Right.
Like, what about holiday specials? Are those holiday specials and therefore not part of the numerical designation of the series? New Frontier, or Justice League New Frontier, DC New Frontier. The movie version is called Justice League New Frontier. The comic is called DC New Frontier. The whole shebang is done by Darwin Cook. This is a love letter by Cook to DC. This is set during the like Eisenhower into Kennedy administration during the space race. So it's idyllic and it is celebrating superheroes, but it's also not irresponsible about it. You know, where like bad things happen, there are consequences to what they do, but it's more about like there are social injustices that are addressed. You know, like, so it is not a whitewashing of the period of the 60s. It's simply, I think, a love letter to the DC universe and to superheroes in general. Cook wrote and drew it. Of course, New Frontier, it's taking from the Kennedy speech about the space race, which we are entering a new frontier. So this is the new frontier that he's referring to, which involves like, you know, Wonder Woman and stuff.
Sure.
Right, the superhero race.
Frontier.
And you will find Watchmen analogs, because it's hard not to ape off of some ideas that came from the natural concept of like, would the government employ superheroes to do stuff overseas? Like, yeah, there is no version, if you want to do like a responsible contemporary analysis of superheroes, where that wouldn't have happened.
Of course
so
not.
It happens.
Even private contracting would happen.
Right. There's no, but I don't think it's derivative in any way. I think it's more just like, yeah, I tried that idea, but it's doing something different. It's not just like Dr. Manhattan gods his way through Vietnam. It's like even Superman is involved, and he doesn't like win wars single-handed.
Okay.
So that's a thing.
Okay.
But like,
outside continuity, obviously.
oh yes,
Yeah,
it's its own Earth designation, which of course.
When is this from?
2004?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
That's great, because you would dig it the most.
Okay. It's really
I
long.
like how you pointed at him but looked at me when you said that.
I'm bringing you in. Of course, the premise of New Frontier is it presupposes that like the DC universe that you know happened earlier. Not unlike 1602, where it's like, it's everything you know, but earlier.
Okay.
So it's like the modern age of superheroes happened in the 60s.
Sure.
Okay.
It also still addresses the JSA, because the JSA is a complicated beast in and of itself, because of course like the JSA were like the predecessors to the Justice League.
Right.
And they, you know, came into prevalence in real life in the 40s, and then when you brought them back in the comics, they were like, oh no, they still operate in the 40s. And it's like sometimes they go in the future and they just operate and don't age, or sometimes they were there and that's what inspired this generation of heroes. In this case, that's the case, where there was a JSA and the government and public outcry said, like, we don't want this anymore. So not unlike Watchmen, where they were like, get out.
Okay.
It's kind of like Watchmen if that had happened before the second like wave of superheroes.
Yeah, the first wave gets kicked out.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's like no reverence for heroes.
Right.
Okay. As a result, you know, like some characters have to operate in the shadows, like Superman and Batman. So Superman is, of course, an agent of the government. Wonder Woman is as well. Batman is not.
Of course.
Because he's a city-dwelling aristocrat, and you know he would never cotton to Eisenhower's plans.
So in that sense, it's also kind of similar to
Dark Knight Returns. Yeah.
Okay.
And they definitely, like, Cook is expertly skilled at giving you those shades, but giving you a version you'd never thought of before.
Yeah.
And a little deeper. Like, you get a Batman versus Superman fight that is inspired by the government saying, we can't let Batman operate anymore, you have to go stop him. But it's not just like, well, because Batman's smarter than Superman, he wins, even though he lets Superman win. Like, that's not what happens.
Right.
So the story opens, and you're like, all right, DC New Frontier, let's do this. It opens on Dinosaur Island in the South Pacific.
Rawr.
Dinosaur Island
Where all good stories start.
Right. Well, why wouldn't it? The losers are a squadron of soldiers. They're soldiers in World War II. The reason why the losers are in the South Pacific going to this island in the first place is because another member of the army was transferring a scientist with secrets to the U.S. and they got, shelled, and so these secrets that they needed to bring and to keep from enemy hands might be on this island. And hopefully the scientists too. Let's go get them.
And we'll fall into the hands of the dinosaurs.
And they'll become the dinosaurs.
They'll battle Genghis Rex
and his evil
tyrannos who are trying to get the intelligence
Yeah.
to turn the tide
cool
of World War
crossover.
II.
Yeah, finally. The crossover is that Michael Uslan created the Dinosaurs and is also a producer on every Batman movie ever made. Anyway, so one by one, the losers start to get killed by dinosaurs.
Oh no! Does Pooch get killed by dinosaurs?
Pooch is not killed by dinosaurs.
Well,
We
Thank
saw him
God.
in the cave.
Yeah.
I mean, they're dinosaurs, man.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna get a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs are gonna eat people.
Right.
That's just gonna happen.
Lieutenant Cloud, who is part Native American, he's the last loser to survive, and he's looking for his sergeant, but what he finds is Colonel Rick Flagg, who was the liaison, and he's stranded on Dinosaur Island. The scientist is dead. He didn't make it.
No.
And of course, Cloud he's part of this fraternity of the losers, and he's like, these are my people. And every one of them is dead now. And so it's just Cloud, Pooch, and Rick. And
So he starts the Suicide Squad, essentially.
I mean, more or less, yeah. Well, Flagg is inspired by them to, I guess, take over and do the Suicide Squad. But so in the dead of night, Cloud and Rick board a dinghy, and they're about to leave, and Cloud is like, I'm not going with you. Like, I'm going to avenge my brothers. Like, I'm done here. You take the secrets that you have in your head and you go.
Hang on, you're gonna avenge from the dinosaurs?
Yeah. As Cloud and Pooch round the corner, they trip one of Flagg's booby traps, and Pooch is killed instantly. Cloud is gravely injured, and that's when the Tyrannosaurus Rex comes along for, his afternoon feeding.
Right.
And Cloud sees it coming. He's got some grenades on his body. He looks up into the sky, and he sees what looks to him to be like this vision of a great warrior on a horse. And he chooses that to be the last thing he ever wants to see. He closes his eyes. He pops the pins at his grenades, and then just dives into the mouth of the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Whoa.
There's some fun because it's dinosaurs, but there's also some like seriousness in the treatment of Cloud and the team. So when the JSA is disbanded or kicked out, like characters that you would normally expect to show up, like the Spectre, just go like, all right, bye.
He just leaves?
Yeah.
We're not legal anymore? Okay. I'm not American. I'm not like subject to your rules.
Right.
Exactly. So another ride-along character that we have, you could call him the protagonist of this story, is Hal Jordan.
Okay.
Because Hal Jordan is kind of like a representation of our belief in space travel. Like our...
Yeah.
He wants to be in space. He wants to go to space.
Wants
He's
to
a
be an
pilot.
astronaut.
He wants to be a pilot like his father.
Yeah, and then be an astronaut.
We cut to the future where Hal Jordan is fighting the Korean War, and basically he took the gig because he wanted to fly, but he doesn't believe in this war, so he refuses to kill anybody.
Oh.
And that is
Not gonna work.
a frustrating situation for everyone that he works for. He's in a dogfight at the end of the Korean War. Like, they've already basically announced the ceasefire, but they're in an area where the word has not gotten there yet. And so he and his wingman are attacked by Korean air pilots. Hal's thrown from his plane, and his chute won't open. And so his wingman just ejects and fires himself at Hal, and then pulls his ripcord because Hal's unconscious.
Right.
And then, lands to safety. During that period, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen are war correspondents.
Okay.
Lois Lane, of course, is portrayed in like all the beauty that Darwin Cook could achieve. I love her look. She's also every bit of Lois Lane you'd imagine. Like, she's in Korea behind enemy lines with like all these American soldiers eating an orange. Just enjoying the comforts. And she wherever she wants to go, she just kind of like uses her feminine wiles on them to like get her there, So
Sure thing, Miss Lane.
yeah, exactly. Oh, sure thing. So she and Jimmy make their way. They, coerce a chopper pilot to take them where they want to go. Meanwhile, Hal landed in a trench on top of a Korean soldier. And so, because what was it? The chopper's there to do a rescue mission for Jordan because they got the message.
Okay.
And Lane's like, "What a scoop! I'm gonna check that out." So Jordan knocks him unconscious. He pops some smoke to signal he's there. The Korean wakes up, and they're fighting. And Jordan, of course, refuses to kill anybody. And this man is brandishing a knife. He's gonna kill him. And Jordan can't remember the Korean to say the war is over. And he can't do it. Jordan unholsters his pistol and he's just begging him in English, like, please stop, you have to stop. And he won't get off of him, and so he just points the gun in his face, and the man is no more. And Jordan is then haunted by this experience, and when he's picked up by Lane and the chopper pilot, all he can say over and over again is, the war is over, in Korean. Like, he remembers it and he'll never let himself forget.
Okay, that gave me goosebumps.
Wow.
Yeah, this whole book is full of that. But Jordan is haunted by the death that by killing,
life that he took.
by the life that he took, and
he could have avoided if he could have just remembered.
Yeah, and he sees that as his weakness for the rest of his life until he becomes Green Lantern. But even then, he doesn't really even believe he deserves that. But we'll get into that in a minute. Meanwhile, there's this fun scientist who wanted to communicate with Mars, and he built this elaborate device to do so. What he didn't know was that it was also going to transport whoever he was communicating with, and accidentally brought John Jones to Earth.
Oh.
Whoa.
The sight of him causes him to have a heart attack and die.
Oh, no.
Oh.
So Jean is now stranded on this planet with no friends and no context, and he's just kind of like stuck here.
He was brought here, he was like, what do I do?
Yeah, and the man says, he's just like, I'm afraid seeing you gave me quite the fright, and I'm gonna die. I'm really sorry.
I'm gonna die now.
Yeah, I'm really sorry.
And John's all like evil and gross looking.
Yeah, he looks like an alien.
Yeah.
I like the
No,
design
he
for Jean.
looks like a Martian.
Yeah, that's right. And so Jean's whole story, and I don't know if I want to do like a page-by-page breakdown of what this book is.
Sure,
yeah. But Jean's whole story is that, like, Jean winds up kind of living in the apartment of the old man and just absorbing the culture by watching TV. And one of his favorite things is, like, noir police detective stories.
Oh.
And so he becomes one. He becomes Detective John Jones of the GCPD. So, like, everyone else is like, what are you doing, man? Like,
Where are your credentials?
they don't even bother because it's 1948. Who cares?
You wouldn't be here if you weren't supposed to be here.
Yeah, well, so, but John is just like, yeah, like, we gotta get him to the paddy wagon. Like, we don't call it that, pal. What are you doing? But John...
This is the 1940s, man. My God.
Yeah, get with the times. But John kind of, like, evolves over time, and he has this whole, like, belief that humanity... basically, through TV, he learns that, like, humanity is beautiful and interesting.
Okay.
Aw.
But of course he looks at it from the perspective of like cops who only see the worst of it. The story within the war is that Superman is dispatched to Indochina. When Superman arrives at this river village, he finds that all the men have been slaughtered, and there is revelry going on in one of the huts. So Superman arrives and opens the door, and what does he find but all the women from the village along with Wonder Woman, and they're all drinking and celebrating. And So they have a back and forth. All the women, of course, break out their guns, and Wonder Woman says,
Now he's cool.
yeah, it wouldn't matter. Wonder Woman was helping with the war effort. She helped in World War II. Now it's the Korean War. She's helping with that because, like, yeah, back then it was black and white. Who was the good guys? Who's the bad guys? Now, well, I'm with the Americans. I'm obviously on the good side. She gets there, and she finds this fishing village that has been overrun. All the women, of course, were like the women are put into camps and used for like pleasure, and so she freed the women, defeated the men, and then took all of their guns and put them on the ground and told the ladies to exact the justice they felt was appropriate. And so they slaughtered all the men. And Superman's like, that's barbaric. And she's like, no, what they were doing was barbaric. You're a jackass.
And now they're liberated.
Yeah. And I love it because the whole time they're having this conversation, Wonder Woman's standing on a table, and she's kneeling down looking at Cal, and she's a little bit taller than he is. Eventually, they'll have their conversation where basically Superman says, like, that's not what America is, that's not what we're supposed to be, we're better than this. And she's like, you don't know what it's like, and you don't understand this world. I'm showing these women a world of truth and justice. And he's like, well, then you're gonna have to come with me, and we're gonna have to like explain what you did, and you're gonna have to face your crime. And she's like, yeah, take a look around you, Clark. Like, look at this world. It's not the way you think it is. And then she stands up, and she's like 2 feet taller than he is, because she's an Amazonian.
Does Martian Manhunter turn into all the people he sees on TV?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening here? So
he
becomes a cartoon character.
Yeah, he becomes Bugs Bunny because Warner Brothers owns DC. He and his partner happen upon a crazy scene of cultists who have kidnapped a child and are going to sacrifice it for their god. Batman is is on the scene, kicking the crap out of them. This is the first time that John's ever seen Batman. He's like, "Oh, you're real."
Is this a reference to something? What is this? This is crazy.
Oh, this is essential to the plot.
This cult society group.
Yeah.
I really like that John Jones, an alien from another planet who shapeshifted into a detective, is like, Batman's real?
Yeah.
What?
Whoa! So, of course, during the commotion, their cultist candles and everything fall over. They catch under the drapes. John recoils.
Right.
Batman notices.
Right.
And, you know, and so John's incapacitated.
Recoiled in terror at fire.
Yeah. So Batman saves the boy, and John recovers the book that belongs to the cultists. It's locked and sealed, and you need some kind of like special key in order to open it. So they just put it in police impound, and they deal with it. Hal is lamenting his inability to get like steady work. Clandestinely, like Rick Flagg winds up working for the government after his experience in World War II. Of course, he ends up helping to run Task Force X, and also he's like the government liaison between Ferris Air and the U.S. government. Ferris Air is, of course, working on some like really experimental plane rocket technology, and don't ask any questions about it. All we know is we got Hal Jordan working on it too, and he's like one of the best. So
okay,
I thought that guy had a jetpack on. I realized now it's a flamethrower.
Yeah, it is a flamethrower. That's the Suicide Squad or Task Force X.
And what are they doing?
They take missions of very low probability of survival for the government. They, of course, are working off like prison sentences, or they have death wishes themselves. As is the case with every version of the Suicide Squad, in this case, one of them dies, because that's the case in every Suicide Squad story. One member of the Suicide Squad has to die.
Yeah.
Right.
One of them is killed by a rogue pterodactyl.
Yay!
This is like in the U.S.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
The T-Rex was the problem.
Yeah, no. The pterodactyl is important and essential. It's just that it was also in New York, and so it killed their friend, and then they blew it up.
Tiffany, the pterodactyl was getting
Yeah.
revenge for them killing the T-Rex.
This is like a Mothra Godzilla sort of relationship, isn't it?
It flew all the way from
pterodactyl is
Dinosaur
Working
Island.
for no.
It's the queen of dinosaurs.
It is not. No. The dude who was taken blows himself up.
Inside the pterodactyl.
It's the only way to defeat a dinosaur.
That's right.
Well, it's the only way that they've been defeated in this book so far.
It's the only way to be sure. That's exactly right.
Right.
We don't have nukes yet, so...
No.
No, they do.
Oh, they do indeed.
Yeah.
No, they're actually that's kind of the impetus behind all the weird dinosaur stuff. Not
Okay.
they're mutant lizards. Don't get ahead of yourself.
They're just dinosaurs.
But there's also a subplot about a guy named John Wilson who was an African-American man that fought in World War II that came home, and when he got there, he met a new organization called the Klan. And his
Yeah, I bet that didn't go well.
yeah, his family was murdered and he was hanged, but it didn't take. And so when he made it, like when he came to, he adopted a new identity known as John Henry and made this big-ass hammer, and he fights the Klan. Henry's whole arc is more a punctuation of like, hey, we didn't get really a chance. There's no real good way to talk about racism in America during this era with the Justice League.
Right.
So I'll tell a story about this other superhero that shows up, who isn't really a superhero, is more like an Avenger or a, like, you know, not an
Punisher.
Yeah.
Well, when you say like it didn't take, like
He didn't die.
he didn't die.
They thought he
Is it
died.
like
and he didn't.
supernatural, or he just survived?
He just survived.
Okay.
He's just tough.
I think the branch broke.
the branch did break. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it's not like he has magical hammers.
No.
No. He's just
Nope.
real strong.
He's just a very strong guy.
Okay.
And he's very angry.
Right.
His whole arc is that he's killing Klansmen, and it garners national attention, and ultimately he bites off more than he can chew. And there's a sequence in which he is chased by the Klan in a southern town, and he like runs through a yard, and he happens upon a little girl, and he says like, shh, like hide me. And instead, she calls out, "The N-word is here,"
Oh wow.
and they come and they burn him.
Holy crap.
Like, that's the fate of John Henry.
Yeah.
Is he wearing the noose
Yeah.
that he was?
that
oh
he was
my
hanged by.
God.
Yeah.
I thought you said this was not like Watchmen, and this was like a
Well, it's
celebration.
It's not irresponsible.
No,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, but
gets-
I don't know. I guess I expected a little more like.
Yeah. No.
There's some of that.
It gets real.
It doesn't pull punches. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That,
okay.
and that's like later on, but it's still
Yeah.
it's part of it.
That makes sense because this is all pre-civil rights. So like
Yeah.
you can't have the like black Avenger character like make it in the end because like
He's not gonna.
that doesn't happen yet. Like they don't get a chance to rise up
Or win.
at
any point.
in
Yeah.
this era. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the plots are like
Oh man, I'm sorry. Is this a reference to the Challengers of the Unknown?
the Challenge of the Unknown are characters in this book.
What?
The Challenge of the Unknown get newsreels because like they're the Fantastic Four of the DC universe.
This is very kind of like.
Oh.
Are there a lot of newsreels throughout?
There are a couple.
was
This
gonna
is
say,
this is the biggest one.
Okay, it's not like the Pirates.
No.
In between chapters.
No, but in the Absolute Edition, you do get articles
Okay.
that are written about what happens that gives you a little more subtext.
Okay.
Yeah, like Watchmen.
When you said they're characters in the book, I thought you meant like
Get out.
they're fake characters.
They're fictional. No, there really is like they live on Challenger Mountain and they have fantastic technology. There's a story in which they they factor in later.
Is there a
Jean,
subplot where there's like a kid in New York and he's reading a comic about their adventures?
straight up no, there is not.
Okay.
All I can see is this island Earth in this picture.
I know. Yeah, I think they are modeled after that. Well, because we see the Challenge of the Unknown serial, we see like the Max Fleischer Superman cartoon also comes on.
yeah,
during
I
that
saw
thing.
that.
That's cool.
But we're in Gotham, and John is watching John Jones, detective, and John Jones, the Martian. And then they play a movie about Martian invaders. And John laughs uproariously at this concept. And when he is shouted down, he realizes that like he is the enemy of these people.
Right.
Or at least that's how he's portrayed.
Right. They're
Right.
like, this is serious.
No,
this
like-
is a threat to
Well, it's
us.
not even a threat. Like this is like a horror movie, and the
Yeah.
thing that is scary is what John
is what
he
is,
is.
or John
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes home despondent, and when he gets there, Batman's there.
Oh.
And he's like, hey, I don't know what you are, but I do know you got a problem with fire, and I know you work for the police department. I need your help. I found this medallion at the scene, and I need you to check it out and figure out what it's all about. because like I got other things going on.
I need a sidekick.
Right. Well, I need a Commissioner Gordon. And so,
Okay.
you know, I need you to deal with this. And the whole thing was Batman is on the outs with everybody because the U.S. government decided that Batman was a problem, so they sent Superman in a big showy fashion to beat Batman. And he did, and then Batman went away. But now Batman operates, you know, in the shadows. The moment that is like a highlight, and they put it in the movie as well, is where basically Batman says, like, you're going to work for me because I spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on a sliver of meteorite that takes care of the one in Metropolis. But for you, all I need is a penny for a book of matches. So he's like, you work for me or I'll kill you.
Right.
Wow, Batman.
Spaceman.
Batman's not going to really kill you.
No, but John doesn't know that.
I know.
Right.
But he should be able to. He can read his mind, right?
Yes, but he doesn't.
So basically what happened is Superman fought Batman, and then he's like, okay, well, I can't beat you. And Superman's like, yeah, I'm not going to kill you, though.
Oh, no.
So you have to
There's more to
stay
that.
underground.
It's that would be like
if
more
you
like
come
Dark-
out,
yes.
then people will know I didn't stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, from here until towards the end of the book, you think that Batman and Superman are bitter enemies. And then at the end, Batman gets a sidekick and changes his image. Like, the Batman you see in the beginning of the story is
Right.
Detective Comics Batman.
Right. The old
School scary
style
Batman.
Yep.
But then, you know, like 1940, 41 in the comics, in this, 48, 49, 50, he is 50, 54, actually.
Yeah.
He's the more colorful, happy Batman.
Yeah.
And basically, he says, I changed my image because the right people know to be scared of me, but I don't need to frighten children.
Right. And there was a moment where he was rescuing that child before.
And she was afraid of
the
him.
child that's why John had to take the kid, because the kid was like terrified.
Exactly,
of Batman. Yeah.
exactly. Wonder Woman is honored by Eisenhower on the step of the Capitol building. And then they privately have a conversation in which he's
Superman's like, oh, you shouldn't honor her.
No. No. The conversation is in private. Time for you to go home.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're done with you now.
We're done with you now. And she's like, no, but I have more to do. And he says, like, don't you know that old adage about like old soldiers? They don't die, like they just fade away.
Yeah, she also gets like pushed off the podium by Nixon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because she has a speech,
go.
the first speech about how America's great, and then the rest of the speech is about how like we have more work to do. And Nixon's like, yeah, get out of here.
Yep.
Don't worry, I've got that covered.
Well, honey, that's enough out of you.
You've been very helpful, but you know, you're done.
Right.
We don't need you
Stirring things
anything up and changing things that are working just fine. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So while Jordan is at Ferris Air, we meet up with a character named King Faraday. King Faraday has been established in the previous continuities as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. His father thought it would be funny to name him King because it sounds like it's King for a day. You know, because like it's
Okay.
not. But
Not
You
the
know
Metallica
what?
song?
Parents, you gotta
Let's
think
hear
about
it
this
for a
stuff.
yeah, you gotta
Beyond
really.
just the initial, that was funny.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Is it
Think
funny
about what it's like
forever?
to live with it.
So King Faraday is a spook. He works for the government.
He's the cigarette smoking man.
He basically is. He's
Really?
Using, yes,
Cancer
he's,
Man.
He's Cancer Man. He's
it.
using
I was calling
the.
him
He's
so
both.
They both.
Okay.
They call him both.
They call
Okay.
it, yeah.
But he is using Ferris Air as a cover for what the U.S. government is really trying to do.
Get to Mars.
Yes, the U.S. government is building a rocket ship through Ferris Air that will go to Mars because they have reason to believe that there are Martians. Jordan finds out that he's not going to be like a test pilot, he's going to be a spaceman.
Or guinea pig, if you will.
Right. John Jones uses the medallion that Batman gave him and finds out it's a key that opens the book that came from the cultists.
Obviously, if you've ever played a video game or watched a movie.
They have been
Like
invented.
a
I know.
But yeah, no, it's true. So the book tells a tale about about Dinosaur Island and about characters from myth and legend that are also actual DC characters. But the point is that the cultists believe in this ancient thing that exists that is instilling its will that they call the center.
And it's called Brother Eye.
It looks like a fucking brother eye, but it's not, thank God.
Thank God.
And the center is the linchpin of the entire thing. So here's the deal with the center, and this is just kind of like telling tales out of sequence, but whatever. You're not here to find out what happens in New Frontier. Just read the book.
Right.
But the center is a being that was born on Earth when the cataclysmic event that killed the dinosaurs occurred. It like morphed around a pocket of that reality of the dinosaurs and created Dinosaur Island.
Okay.
And protected them from extinction.
Sure.
Then it continued to watch humanity because humanity was the dominant species on the planet, and also, of course, gained sentience and observed. When humanity detonated the atom, it decided, okay, that's enough from humanity. So it has determined that humans don't deserve it anymore. And its influence and its power and its hate have such strong radiation practically that it infects people as well, and in fact inspired like a man to write a story series about the center, and it inspired like cultists to worship it and chronicle its existence. So like the center is this kind of like force that exists that exerts its will kind of like almost unconsciously.
Okay.
And its desire is to destroy all of humanity. It's using the dinosaurs to kind of like get information or to like mess with people. Like eventually when humanity catches wind of what the center's plan is, the center will send tons of mutated dinosaurs after us.
How come when humanity catches wind that there are dinosaurs, they don't go and try to get them?
Because that's not the story we're telling here. That's Jurassic
And then they could have rode them into Korea.
Now that would have been pretty fun.
No.
Well, because no one would believe them, probably. Rick Flagg is telling wild stories about dinosaurs and crap.
The government, of course, set up a sting to catch the Flash. Because that's what King Faraday does. King Faraday catches like the undesirables and the like otherworldly threats and brings them to an undisclosed location and studies them.
Like the Outlaws? Like the superheroes that are not within government?
Yeah.
Only if they have powers and stuff.
Right. They were supposed to stop, and he won't stop, so...
Well, no, Flash wasn't part of it. That was Jay Garrick. This Flash, he didn't even know those guys.
Right.
So, no...
yeah, but he knows he's not supposed to be running around super fast.
Yeah.
No one's supposed to be doing that.
Right. But I love it because Faraday walks out, they net Barry. And
He's
Faraday...
taken down by a net.
Yeah. Well, and like, disorienting gas.
It's nice to know that Flash and Aquaman have a similar
weakness.
Achilles heel.
Yeah, nets. Well, it does involve running.
Yeah, oh, all tangled up.
So Faraday threatens to shoot the Flash with like this tranquilizer. He's like, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna lose control of your like bowels and your muscles and everything, but eventually you'll be fine.
Not
my bowels.
Yeah, and I love it because Flash says, "Why?" And then uses his Flash powers to like move out of the way and like move between the molecules of the net and leaves.
Right, he vibrates so fast
that
he
he moves.
phase through the net.
Exactly.
Does he know he can do that, or does he like figure it out at that moment?
We don't get into
don't
his
really
head.
know.
I would like to believe that he finds out he can do that just at that moment.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he would have done it earlier.
Yeah, he stays in the net for a long time, and he
Yeah.
only gets out like right before he's about to be shot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, that's cool.
So
like, no, you can't catch the Flash that easily.
Right. No, exactly. John is trying to piece together the mystery of the center, and there's all these moving parts and pieces of it, and he's got this whole like wall of ideas on it, like, in his bullpen. And
Thankfully, he hasn't tied them together with colored yarn, because that would be nuts.
yeah, that would make him look like a crazy person. So then they bring John in to talk with a guy they recovered who is screaming nonsense about like basically he worked for Faraday and he like cracked. And John is like, oh my god, this guy has information that I need that'll like, and then Faraday and his people show up and collect him.
Yep. Oh, there he goes again. Oh, he got loose.
Yep.
Thank you for finding him. I'm gonna
And
take
he's
him
like,
away now.
You understand? He's crazy. He's
Yeah.
just spouting nonsense.
Yeah. So when John shakes hands with Faraday, he reads his mind and he sees that they know that he's there. He's like, they know about Martians. They have a plan to leave. And go to Mars.
To go to Mars.
But they don't know that John is a Martian.
No, not yet.
No, but they know about Martians.
They know about Martians, and they know that there are Martians, and that they're going to Mars, and he knows about the secret plan to leave.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm leaving too. Like, I should go home. This whole thing is nuts. I got Batman threatening to kill me. You know, you're making movies about me and like basically like, you know, Martian face.
He's gonna hitch a ride on the.
Yeah.
Is it really? Neat.
Hal is helping with the Martian plan to go, and Hal's PTSD refuses to allow him to follow safety regulations. Rick Flagg is like, that's enough.
You're perfect.
No, he's like, this is important. Yeah, right. You're.
I've got a different job for you.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, there's no correlation, but Flagg is like, you need to get off. Like, you're out. You're grounded.
Right.
You're now going to be, because you know too much about the plan and because you're so like good at this, you're going to be our like ground coordinator, but you're not on the flight plan anymore. You never go into space.
Right.
How funny would it be if Hal Jordan, who wanted to die so badly, was on the Suicide Squad, but he's never the one to die?
Yeah. There is actually a reason why he's not in the Suicide Squad, but yeah, it'd be great. He's like, I guess I'm in charge.
All right, this is going. All right. Oh no, it's in danger! And someone else jumps the way. He's like, damn it!
And then we check in with Dr. Seuss.
This is the guy who was inspired by the Center to write children's stories that would.
Dr. Seuss writes whimsical, fun tales, but also there's a dark secret hiding beneath it.
Yeah. If you read all the stories in the right order.
Yeah, it'll end the world or something.
Well, basically, it's like he's like the Grinch. At the end of the day, you can make the Center's heart grow 3 sizes.
Nope, you got to kill it with nukes.
He's like,
That's what you
he's
do.
like he's like the Onceler. He'll feel bad about the destruction afterwards.
Yeah.
And he'll get.
I will say, when Dr. Seuss does finish his opus, he does kill himself. What? So, you know, it is a little dark. But anyway, so... Take this away from you now.
Why?
What does this writer have against Dr. Seuss and his
Yeah.
heartwarming
Here,
tales?
have mine.
So then,
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah. Ben.
The Martian team is ready to go. Hal, of course, like watches them leave, and he's just like, you know, good luck.
He's like that guy in Apollo 13 who had chickenpox. Or
Yes.
never had chickenpox.
Yeah.
Who's
Gary Sinise.
Who's the
He was the guy from Apollo
Thank
13.
you.
Apollo 15.
Who's the team?
The team is Jess Bright, Rick Flagg, and Karen Grace.
Okay.
A little background on Rick, by the way. He was married and then got divorced, and now he has a relationship with Karen Grace, who's a member of the flight team.
That seems like a good call. You definitely want to go into space with your significant other and one other guy.
Hey, I'm gonna be in space. I gotta bang somebody.
What about me?
So they're about to take off, and John's there. Because
Yeah.
he's going to jump aboard.
He's gonna grab it.
And, of course, like, as they are getting ready, Faraday sees the Martian on the closed-circuit TV cameras.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so he goes down there, and he's just like, you're here to sabotage the launch. Like, I know it. And he's like, I'm not here to kill me. Or, I'm not here to kill you. I just want to go home.
John, maybe you don't want to be in the ignition bay.
Right.
Do you know what
That comes out the bottom of the
Right.
rocket.
So Faraday corners John. They grapple over the gun. Jean accidentally knocks out Faraday. The engines are going to go off. And Jean realizes, like, I can either jump aboard or rescue this man. So Jean saves Faraday.
Oh.
And then
This is his chance.
he misses his chance. And then the rocket goes off. And Faraday arrests Jean. And he's taken to...
What a
After he saves
dick.
his life?
Yeah.
God.
He doesn't know he saved his life. He got knocked out.
This guy sucks.
So
Well,
Faraday...
all I know is I was fighting with you, and then I woke up, and you were there, and I arrested you. I don't
Yeah.
know. You saved my
So
life.
You're
Faraday's...
still a dirty alien.
So Faraday's talking to Jean through glass in his prison, and you know he's just like, "Why'd you save me? You had a chance to go home." And Jean's like, "Because when I touched you, I realized that you're not evil. Like you think you're doing good, and you are, and you do have goodness inside you." And Faraday is taken aback by this because he didn't believe that either.
Oh, wow.
So then, basically, as the story progresses, Jean and Faraday kind of become friends.
But like, you know.
Like Stockholm Syndrome friends? But like,
I have to go visit my friend who's in a glass prison that I made for him.
they eventually let Jean out every once in a while and they play chess together.
Oh.
So,
How nice.
I know.
He gets to come out every so often
Wow.
and play a game with one
Faraday
person.
really is a good guy.
Did
Yeah.
Faraday
Wow.
introduce him to
Wow.
Chacos?
No, we don't see a Chaco thing, unfortunately. So while the mission to Mars, which is called Flying Cloud, which Rick Flagg insisted they name after St. Cloud,
That makes sense.
is on its way to Mars, Jess Bright goes insane and tries to sabotage the entire launch and gets jettisoned out of the aircraft.
Oh.
And now the aircraft is disabled, and that's when...
Spacecraft. spacecraft now. You call it an aircraft.
I did call it an aircraft. It is a spacecraft. I'm sorry. Where Flagg reveals, okay, so our mission to Mars, yeah, this whole thing is loaded with weapons of mass destruction. We're going to blow up whoever's there. That was our plan.
Wow.
But
your job was to always just like be with us and deliver it.
But now we're not going to make it. And if we land back on Earth, we're going to cause some serious collateral damage.
Right.
The challengers of the unknown intercept the transmission. They go, got it! So they all pile into their car and they fly up in the air. And
these kind of things usually go well for them.
Right, but Faraday, no, they've already got, like, they're not going to Fantastic Four it up. It's just that, like, Faraday's like, no, don't go up there, because they don't know about the WMDs. They just know that there's a disabled spacecraft.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they're like, we're going to save the day. And Faraday's like, don't go up there. You're all going to die. So the challenge the unknown are on their way to rescue them. They're going to come down and blow everything up. Faraday's like, crap. So he is like, I guess I'll have to call in the big guy. So he calls out to Bishop Six, who is Superman. And of course, Superman is fighting a giant robot at the time, so he can't answer.
Does he have like chest names for all of the superheroes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for all of the people that they're in his employ.
Well, he's the king, so.
Exactly.
Why is Superman fighting a giant robot? Where's
That's
the
what
giant
Superman
robot?
does in the 60s.
Well, he's in Tokyo.
Oh, okay. Enough said.
Before they launched, Flagg transmits to Jordan. He's like, this mission was never meant for you, because I don't think it was going to be a two-way trip.
Right.
And I promised your dad I'd take care of you.
Oh.
Because Flagg flew with Jordan's father. So the challengers grab onto Flagg's spaceship, starship,
Yeah.
Whatever.
to try and help, but they don't, and it's coming in for re-entry. Flagg knows what to do, and he and Karen basically like hold hands and detonate the ship as Superman flies in and saves the challengers from themselves.
Do they have an aliens moment where there's like detonator?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, but they also like have a moment where like Flagg sees the life they didn't lead. Like,
Yes.
oh, that's so
Flagg
sad.
But yeah, so when they recover Karen's effects, they find this like beautiful portrait of the two of them in like this idyllic kind of like
Aw.
space.
Yeah, like
future hope.
looking
Yeah, to the future
forward
and
with stars in the background. Yeah.
So Jordan is now grounded. He bumps into this guy named Tom, who everybody on the base calls Pie Face. But Tom has no patience for that, and he's like, "Who you calling Pie Face, white bread? You call me that again, I'll kick your ass. My name's Tom." He's like, "Tom, got it. My bad."
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that would be inappropriate.
Good for you, Tom.
So Jordan decides to like muck around in the simulator. So he's sitting in his simulator, and then
It takes off.
it takes off.
Yay.
He blasts out the wall, and he finds instead like Abin Sur.
Yeah. And it goes down
yeah.
the way it does.
The way it did in Emerald Dawn.
Yeah, we're missing a yellow sign that killed his friend.
Right, yeah. Basically, Abin
God.
Sur was on his way there. The explosion from the flying cloud screwed up Abin Sur's ship and killed him.
Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
Sur was there to warn
sucks for
Earth
him.
about the center.
Oh, I thought
wow.
Abin Sur like heard the distress call and he was gonna try and save the ship.
Nope, he is there to try and save humanity, and he fails.
Yeah.
And
He fails because humanity was trying to kill the Martians.
Yeah.
And screwed it up.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The ring does choose Jordan. Jordan takes the ring, buries Abin under some rocks.
Well, he's in the desert. That's what you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's also like horrified by the destructive power of the ring, and it causes him to like freak out.
Interesting. But shortly thereafter, he flies, and he likes that.
Oh, naturally, yes. Well, he does enjoy that, yes.
Yeah, it is a horrifying amount of power for any one person to wield. But look, I can fly!
Yeah,
Whee!
No, it's like he questions the Force later.
Oh, after he flies, I
Yeah.
see. He does something that's
Hey,
like really
Aquaman
destructive.
shows up.
Yeah.
Aquaman does show up. The center senses energy from Florida, Cape Canaveral.
Right.
And so it's like, oh, this is the place. So it
Okay.
dispatches like all of its horrible dinosaur monsters to go and like mess them up. And it's
That
ready
is a
to
very big pterodactyl.
Yeah, and the plan that the center has is it's going to annihilate humanity and then leave Earth forever.
Oh.
But of
Where
course,
will you go? Center?
into space.
Who will take care of you?
I think he can take care of himself. But
Is the center, like, where is the center, like, physically?
Dinosaur Island.
Okay, is it like a dude?
It's like it is Dinosaur Island.
Oh.
But it's not, because Dinosaur Island continues to be a thing.
Okay.
So...
Is it like a spirit?
No, it's like a thing. It was born on Earth. It has, like, psychic abilities.
Okay.
It's not unlike a, like, psychic cloned monster that you'd use to, I don't know, avert World War III in the middle of Times Square.
Okay.
Themyscira is, of course, besieged by dinosaurs as well. Diana, like, flies her invisible jet to Florida. As you can see, she's bleeding all over it.
Can't she fly?
Oh, yes, she can, but she took the jet because, like, I guess she was weak.
Okay.
Yikes.
Yeah.
She got, like, bitten by a dinosaur or something?
Yeah.
Ah.
Barry decides to go help, so he flashes up and goes to Florida. Basically, like, and so, like, the third act is the big confrontation between the Justice League and the Center.
Okay.
Yeah, Faraday frees Jean.
And he looks like
Yay.
the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, because John's like, I'm gonna become a friendlier face. Like, you guys are all... the last time I ran into a guy the way I was, I killed him with my horrible visage. So, how about I look a little friendlier, but still maintain my, like, Martiandom?
Yeah, so you
He's
can
like,
tell him an
that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And then they become the Men in Black.
Yes.
They put on sunglasses, so yes.
Right? So, Jordan volunteers to be part of the plan where we're going to take our, like, hovercraft and we're going to launch nukes into the center of the center.
Oh. So they found the center. They figured it out.
Well, it's off the coast. It's,
Right.
It's converging on Florida.
And I'm sorry, did you mention before that, like, Faraday, did he know about it before Jean?
The center?
Yeah, about that. Okay.
Yeah, he was aware.
So he's worried about the Martians on Mars and the center on Earth. And
Yes.
So he's aware of all these...
He's got very many moving parts.
It's
Yeah.
like there's stuff attacking us from the inside, there's stuff attacking us from the
Well,
outside.
and I think after Jean, he's kind of done worrying about the Martian.
Okay, right.
Well, he may have thought at one point they were all part of it. Because like,
Yeah.
he saw the center like going out into space.
Exactly. Ferris kind of like tries to ground Jordan. She's like, "You're untrustworthy. You've disappeared with the simulator. Like,
Yeah,
give me a
what was
break."
that all about?
And he goes like, "You know, you were a coward in Korea.
Oh.
Wow.
Like, we can't trust you." And he says like, "I didn't believe that the war was worth killing for. But what I discovered about myself was that I'd be willing to kill to survive." And so, like, what I saw out there, the center that's coming, like, I'm willing to kill it.
Okay.
Like, to save all of us. And she's like, "I'm sorry." And he's like, "Give me some sugar, baby." And they make out.
In front of the
the exhaust.
exhaust.
The exhaust,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, it makes for a really cool picture.
It looks awesome.
Paradise Island is, of course, annihilated by the center. Wonder Woman
geez.
escaped barely with her life.
This looks like a rat or a dinosaur king, I guess. A rat king of
Yeah,
dinos.
of dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't like that.
Wonder Woman seemingly succumbs to her wounds. She kisses Superman. Superman's like, "Okay, that's enough of the center." Everyone's bickering. Like, you know, Green Arrow shows up, and he's like,
I'm in the book too.
I'm throwing my leftist ideals at you, jackbooted thugs, and they're all like fighting and arguing. And Superman like claps a thunderstroke at them, and he's like, "That's enough." And he gives a big rousing speech about like togetherness and fighting for the humanity and everything.
Sure.
And you know, Faraday's like, "Wow, that's nice stuff." And John's like, "Wow, nice." And he shakes hands with Superman. And then Superman's like, "I'm gonna go fight the center and probably win. But if I don't, it's up to you."
Superman is going like, "Hey, another alien! Oh my god, we gotta be bros now."
So Superman goes to the center. The center blasts him and seemingly kills him.
Oh.
And then Superman falls into the ocean. We don't see him anymore.
Oh, what?
That's it.
Wow.
And everyone watches Superman lose. And they're all like,
And John faints.
"Yes."
Well, it's because he's on fire.
Well, 'cause
He's
the
on
center,
fire,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. It was such a fire.
The
Yeah.
center just...
Boom. Yeah. And
I'm thinking no.
Superman's
Yeah.
like, "Oh."
Oh, it's really super powerful.
Yeah.
Faraday, do you have any more of those spaceships? Maybe Mars is not such a bad place to live.
Right? So,
There's a lot of craziness happening over these next few pages.
oh, I know. We don't need to worry about that. Basically, like, you know, why don't the cosmic characters just step in and save everybody? And it's like, because they're too busy having a dinner party where they're talking about whether they should get involved or not. So, like, the Spectre, Dr. Fate, Shazam.
Is it the Phantom Stranger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's that?
Zatanna.
Wait,
Zatanna.
Zatanna.
Shazam is a
is a boy.
Yeah, he's
Billy Batson.
He's Billy Batson right now.
Well, Billy gets to go.
He's like a celestial character or some kind of crazy universal person?
Because his power comes from
Magic. These are all the magical. If Zatanna's there, then they're indicating magic. Same thing with with Dr. Fate, who is like magic, but also godly. So it's a little bit of both. And Billy Batson's eating the biggest thing of what looks like mashed potatoes and gravy ever.
Yep. Yeah. Also, they didn't want to do Shazam in this book, so they just put him over here.
Nope, they didn't.
Well, I mean, like, had they ever been able to do a second one of these, that would have been interesting, but unfortunately. No. Anyway.
So basically, they like launch a number of offenses that like help to defeat the center. You know, like they got ground forces that made up of characters that King Faraday kidnapped and held against their will, like Adam Strange, and Wonder Woman eventually comes to her full strength and helps the ground forces. Hal. Green Arrow, Batman, they're fighting with jets and blowing the crap out of things. Of course, they still have the plan where we're going to drop nukes in the center of it.
In the center of the center.
In the center of the center. The center reaches out to Jean and winds up like taking over him.
Oh.
And tries to turn him into one of his horrible dinosaur creatures to like kill them.
Yikes.
Faraday refuses to let Jean do that and basically forces Jean to send the center like possession into him, which overwhelms and kills King Faraday.
Oh.
Jean is
beside
himself with horror, and in a rage slaughters hosts of dinosaur creatures. Hal and Adam go into the center, where they are like met with horrible hallucinations of their greatest fears.
Yikes.
The craft blows up that Hal is in, and then Hal dons his Green Lantern ring and realizes like, oh cool, I'm actually more powerful than I know. Haha.
Okay, that's neat. Like forcing him to have to learn.
He has to accept it because he's like, I don't know if I'm worthy of it. Hal's team is overwhelmed by the center, like they're surrounded, enveloped by like horrible dinosaur primordial goo.
Ugh.
And they wind up just detonating everything.
Wow.
And so they blow up the center. So they hurt the center, but don't kill it. Barry runs in and tries to contain it. So Hal envelops it in Green Lantern energy and then takes it into space to throw it in the sun.
Yay!
As he's in space, he's visited by the Guardians who are like, now you are worthy of what this is. Like, you are a Green Lantern.
Cool. Could you wait? I still have to throw this in the sun.
Oh, yeah,
well, that's what it is. They're like, hey, you thought to put it in the sun.
Yeah.
High marks.
Right. So he throws it away. I mean, like, we don't know if it goes in the sun or not.
It goes
away. It blows up and dissipates. It's not coming back.
It's going in the sun.
Yeah. And then a giant, cool Atlantean submarine lands. And Aquaman comes out and he's like, "Hey, I found this becaped superhero on my floor.
Is this yours?"
So
quit littering in the ocean, you jerks!
Did you leave your garbage here? Get out of here! So
you know how many sea turtles died underneath him?
Yeah, and he landed. It was a holocaust for turtles.
I need them to lift up Atlantis.
Yeah, but I love it because then like Superman is rescued by Aquaman. Aquaman's now part of the team, and
I'm here too.
And Jimmy snaps like a picture of revelry and joy. And then we enter the new frontier because Kennedy's elected and things are getting brighter. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that like things are promising, but it's still the 60s, and so we are headed towards nuclear annihilation anyway.
But like, and I know that there's a thing, but like in terms of the story in general, it's just interesting. They were like,
let's put the doomsday clock in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, and also like we're harbinging things to come. Like now there's this fella called the Joker who's bothering Gotham City, and like that's gonna be horrifying. But also like there's a young boy named John Henry Irons who's reading a comic book next to the grave of John Wilson, aka John Henry, and he's gonna be inspired to become a superhero. And and then the story wraps up with Starro coming out of the ocean and the Justice League going to defeat it, which is of course Darwin Cook's expert redepiction of the first adventure of the Justice League in the cover of Justice League #1.
Oh wow,
that's cool.
We didn't really talk about the art.
Yeah, we should.
But holy shit, is this art amazing?
Isn't it?
This book is very well done.
Well, because like it's like disarming.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there's a disarming simplicity to it, and like a like wholesomeness to the art, but that like is like betrayed by what's going on in the actual book, but also makes you like in that time period.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like at the very beginning when the first guy dies on Dinosaur Island, like the image is just very like horrific. Like we don't see the wound.
No, but we
see the reactions. But like just him laying in the grass the way it's depicted, it's just really like striking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Cook's like mastery of like shadows is like undeniable.
Yeah.
Like undeniable. And I don't mean just like, your standard like, oh, like that's where like form is and stuff like that, but like the artistic side of it where he's like hiding like, Rick Flagg there.
Yes.
It's just so incredible.
Yeah. No, Justice League New Frontier is a masterclass in comics. And while there are parallels to some of your favorite deconstructions of superheroes, and this belongs up there, like it's for me like another Watchmen. Like
it belongs in a museum.
It belongs in a museum. It is a perfect comic book.
Yeah, it's more a celebration of heroes, but doesn't like
pull punches.
It doesn't pull punches as to the
gravity of what they're doing.
Yeah,
I am very glad the cult did not bring about the center.
Right.
I was
they didn't like
that was going to be the case.
No, it's just that
related to
the cult is a byproduct of the center's influence.
Yeah. Just like Dr. Seuss was.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's like that whole section in the center, which I know we're not gonna really in the center.
Oh, the center of the book, yeah.
Where like they find the last book he was working on. It's a dinosaur book.
Yes.
And like they said, his name was Ted Smeisel, and I'm trying to remember what Dr. Seuss's real name was. I think it was Theodore something.
Theodore Seuss Geisel.
That's it.
Geisel.
Yeah, they called him Ted Smeisel.
Ted Smeisel.
There are so many moving parts that seamlessly flow together.
Well, yeah, like
it works.
That's the thing, is that you can't really go like, oh, so can we tell you the story of New Frontier? It's more like, here are chapters, and each chapter has like 16 different characters, and they all have different stories, but they're all part of the same story.
Yeah.
But they're all telling their own stories.
Yeah, it's like a series of vignettes that are all tied together.
Yeah, that are all connected by the primary antagonist.
It's done really well.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like he wrote and drew this, right?
Yes.
He did the whole thing,
the whole
which
shebang.
is probably why it's so tight on top of all of that.
That's true, yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, like it harkens back to this time period like flawlessly, but with like a modern day maturity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that things from back, during this time period weren't mature necessarily, but it's like
the audience wasn't ready for those kinds of themes and ideas and expressions.
It gives you that sensation of reading a story from, say, the 40s, 50s-ish, right? But with, like, the ability to look back on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And address it. And I'm like, that's just fascinating.
Yeah.
That's just amazing.
Yeah, it's actually, like, it's fascinating how it's, like, it's simultaneously nostalgic and also, like, accurate.
Right. Yeah. And, like, I'm, like, really glad I was here for this. At the same time, like, I was like, oh, kind of wish I just read it myself.
If you do, you're still gonna get every moment, and you'll actually. There are so many moments that we didn't get a chance to talk about because like it's not fair. You need to read New Frontier and experience it for yourself, and it's such an important tome.
Yeah.
It's something that like DC I don't think is like incapable of doing now because it's like it's not an idea that you tell someone to execute. This is a story that was inside Cook and he had to get out.
Yeah.
And he only focuses on the things that are important. So, there are diversions and there's like, indulgences, but like everything matters. And he focuses on those things that do. And that's kind of amazing too. Like it would be easy to do a whole Arkham Asylum element or to really focus on Lex Luthor or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor shows up at the end as a kind of reference to like how industry is eventually going to start becoming like the new enemy of the American people in the
Right.
And it's like
he's like
industry of pollution.
Yeah,
There's
he's
all
surveying
this smoke coming out of the smokestacks,
and like it's
just toxic waste or whatever going into. It's like
he represents the bad part of the industrial boom.
Yeah, foreshadowing like the environmental movement and like in the 70s coming after this.
Yeah,
It's like there's still problems and we're gonna deal with that in the future.
Right.
I'm not gonna pretend like everything was fine after they defeated the Center.
Yeah, Kennedy gave a speech, we went to the moon, and everything lived happily ever after. Like, no.
Now there's battles left to fight.
Right, and of course, like, you're supposed to feel that way. Like, you're supposed to feel like a sense of dread, but wonder. Like, not all our problems are solved by a big punch or a nuke. And in fact, of course, like the idea here, like, nukes don't solve the problem. Like, they don't beat the Center.
Right.
It's
Hal Jordan beats the
Hal
Center.
Jordan
ultimately.
beats the Center.
with his magical ring.
Yes, but
the
with
cosmic ring.
But the ring that he didn't believe he deserved.
Yeah.
You know, it was, yeah.
I'm really glad they also have annotations in the back.
Right, to like see what he's referencing. Like, what is he talking about? What is he alluding to? What are his inspirations?
It's also like incredibly sad that we can never have this again.
Yeah, but Cook was prolific, and there are multiple volumes of things done by Darwin Cook.
Yes.
He was cut down tragically short, and we don't have enough, but there is some more, and we'll cover some of them. Like he has a great Catwoman story. He has a pretty fun Batman book called Ego, and more. There's an entire other run of stuff that he's done that we can talk about.
Who are these guys?
That is the Blackhawks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. I saw a couple references to teams. The Blackhawks was on a panel. There was a couple other teams that I assume were references to
more of DC's pantheon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just don't get enough time for full screen
they're more
time.
like military organizations.
Right, or it's like if there's
World
gonna
War II
if we're gonna have like fighter pilots.
Yeah.
We're gonna put in the Blackhawks.
Yeah, like were the Blackhawks going with Hal Jordan?
Yeah.
To attack the center there. Yeah, they were one of the
teams. Air teams. Yeah,
that's cool.
You know, the Challengers still play a role in their battle against the center. You know, it's just
neat.
It's neat. Plus, you also get dinosaurs.
And dinosaurs. But I love that because like
they're not even dinosaurs.
But that gives you that like pulp kind of feel.
Yep.
Like the dinosaurs being like a antagonist.
Like a significant threat that people
yeah,
have to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a monster
It's
movie
not just
thing.
a lizard, like, shot up close with a horn on.
But that paired with like the Martians, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
this idea of the Martians and them coming for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you even get the robot, the giant robot monster in there.
Yeah.
It's a promise of like, look at all the pulp serial stuff we also get to play with.
I love this panel layout where it's just like 3 big panels
Yeah.
per page. Occasionally they'll break up one of those into a few smaller panels.
Yeah. It's fun where Cook's like, no, I want you to see this. I'm not gonna squish it into this tiny panel.
It's like it's a cinematic experience.
That's true.
Well, not only that, there's so much story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, trying to squish it down would be a pain in the butt because you got like, I have all of these pages.
Yeah.
Why would I minimize anything?
Yeah, and I'm so thankful they didn't like truncate it.
Yeah.
That they only expanded it as, you know, it gained prevalence and people were excited about it.
Yep. That's also similar to Watchmen, which had a very rigid 3
9-panel grid.
9-panel grid. Sometimes they use all 9, sometimes they combine them like this. This is more relying on the 3 panels per page.
Yes.
But it's also very like rigid and consistent throughout. It's very effective.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll see you guys next time in another episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thanks for watching.
What are we doing for 301?
Oh, it's Guy Gardner Reborn.
Oh.